today, we are talking about working with the ancestors. We're going to be looking at the biggest mistake people tend to make when they start and why avoiding that mistake is so critical. So the genetic ancestors are the ones coming from our human lineage. That is one set of ancestors that you can turn to. So those are the ones that I'm going to be talking about today. First, let me distinguish between the ancestors that are well ancestors, and then there are ancestors that are not well. One of the biggest mistakes that people tend to make when they connect with their ancestors is that they just connect with any ancestors that want to connect with them. There's a danger there because some of those ancestors may not be well ancestors. So when you ask to connect with your ancestors, you want to ask to connect with your well ancestors, and that's going to be very important. The well ancestors are the ones who have reconciled their lives and moved on and transitioned to become elevated. If you may have heard of elevated ancestors or doing a ritual to elevate your ancestors, that's really what it's talking about. It's talking about making sure that those ancestors have passed on and then have reconciled their lives so that they are in a luminous state. They're in a state where they're going to want to assist. And then conversely, there's the unwell ancestors. So the unwell ancestors, some people refer to them as ghosts, or although ghosts are really ones that are stuck, that haven't transitioned and haven't reconciled. So there could be ghosts and unwell ancestors have the same feel to them where you feel like they're intruding and it feels like they have this negative effect. But a lot of times it's not like a ghost like we see in a movie where it's attacking you and opening the cupboards and throwing things around. And so they're not like that. And in fact, a lot of our ancestors who haven't reconciled and have not fully transitioned, they have an energy that is still affecting us. Ancestral energy affects us. Both the positive ancestral energy affects us and the negative ancestral energy affects us. So if there was something that they did or something that happened in their lives, and then when they died, they did not fully transition to reconcile their lives. So that energy then stays and connects with the present members of the lineage, and then that affects them. Sometimes that energy isn't necessarily being intentionally negative. So the ancestral energy, for example, it could be of someone who was following their dream and set off on a voyage and then died when they were on that voyage. And so the energy there is following your dreams is dangerous. So you don't want to be careful. You don't want to be risky. And so that energy in itself, the intention of it is that it's helpful, but in fact, it's not helpful. And the fact for them that they set off on this journey and then for whatever reason they died during the journey, then so they did not get to fulfill their purpose. So then that means that that ancestor is not reconciled. So they have to be able to transition and move on and then reconcile fully so that then they can come back as well ancestors. We want to work with the well ancestors. We don't want to work with any ancestor that shows up because the way they show up and the energy may not be positive for us. And again, it's not necessarily intentional of them. Like they don't necessarily want to stop us from living our purpose, or they don't necessarily want to cause negative effects. But what happens when they kind of function with the energy that's not reconciled, then that causes these negative effects. What do we mean when there's negative effects? What are we talking about? Things can be difficult for you, right? So for example, if there's this ancestor that died on their journey to seeking their purpose, and they say, no, don't do that because it's dangerous. You want to not take risks and you want to stay comfortable. And so then that means that any time that you want to seek fulfilling your purpose, then it's going to be difficult for you because they want to protect you. But in fact, that energy is not being positive, right? Instead, what they're doing is they're holding you back, and you may be connecting to that energetic fear or that energetic signature of fear that they have. And of course, their intent is to keep you safe, but it's stopping you, it's blocking you, it's prohibiting you from really reaching your goals or from attaining that sense of fulfillment that you have. They have their own frequency, which may not be in our best interest. And so that is very true. When you develop an ancestral practice, you want to be intentional about connecting with the well ancestors. Because one of the things that the well ancestors can do is that they can protect you. They can protect you from the unwell ancestor. So they can provide like that, those boundaries between you and the unwell ancestors so that you are protected from that particular energy. So that's one reason why you would want to connect with your well ancestors is because they can protect you. They can provide that energetic protection from these energies that may be influencing you that are not positive. And not that they're intentionally not positive, but they're in your life, the result, the effect is not a positive one. And what does that feel like? That usually feels like things are hard, like things are difficult, like you're trying to achieve some things and then it's just not happening. And so then a lot of times, even if you've tried, so you've gone for this healing and you've gone for this healing over here and you've tried to make internal changes, well, it doesn't matter how many internal changes you make. If those ancestral energies are affecting you, then it's going to be very difficult because what you need is you need protection from those energies. So then whatever you do in your own energetic field has the effect that you want it to have. So stopping and protecting from those energies is very important. So developing that ancestral practice, even if you're just connecting with your well ancestors and asking for protection, that is a great way to begin.